Nobody was released at an interesting time. The pandemic was still in full swing, and people hadn't fully gone back to theaters yet. It was a middle-of-the-road action movie that was occasionally thrilling. It had interesting themes that it didn't follow through on, and Bob Odenkirk's performance elevated its entertainment value. Its sequel, Nobody 2, follows in a very similar vein, though Odenkirk's Hutch Mansell isn't hiding who he is from his wife, Becca, Connie Nielsen, and their two kids, Brady, Gage Monroe, and Sammy, Paisley Kadorath. He's now beating up and killing people full-time to pay off a $30 million debt to the barber, Colin Salmon, after Hutch burnt the Obshack to a crisp in the first movie. But even auditors need breaks, so Hutch takes his family to Plummerville, where his father, Christopher Lloyd, took him and brother Harry, RZA, when they were kids. Naturally, Hutch can't escape the job as he goes up against Sharon Stone's ruthless Lendina, the face behind an entire bootlegging operation. Nobody 2 has good action scenes. But it doesn't follow through on its themes. Timo Tahanto takes over directing responsibilities from Ilya Naishala, though the look and feel of the sequel isn't all that different from its predecessor. Written by Derek Kolstad and Aaron Rabin, Nobody 2 is just as violent and gory as the first movie, but it's also a bit funnier to watch with a theater audience. Here, the theme is escaping one's nature. Wherever you go, there you are, the barber tells Hutch, and Nobody 2 isn't all that concerned with challenging that at all. Almost immediately, the film leans into that and Hutch barely blinks. He tells his son to show restraint even as he beats people to a pulp, failing to lead by example. This wouldn't be so bothersome if the movie had attempted to work through the very themes it introduced. The same goes with Hutch's marriage. In the first half of the film, Becca keeps trying to talk to Hutch about how his job is cutting into his family time and keeping him at a distance. That conversation never materializes, and Nobody 2 seems to resolve any marital tension by the end without having done the work. This would be more frustrating if the story didn't move at such a fast pace. At 89 minutes long, there's rarely a dull moment as the narrative moves from one point to another. The action isn't overwhelming, either, as Nobody 2 includes it when needed without relying solely on it to entertain. It's not particularly memorable, but it is serviceable, with Odenkirk's Hutch going toe-to-toe with anyone who dares cross him. With a few notable angles, in which the perspective switches to better highlight the damage caused by Hutch's viciousness, the film's action is exciting overall. It even made me gasp during a couple of the more bloody and brutal instances. Since the characters are at an amusement park, the fact that the action is set there in its finale makes it all the more engaging and fun. Nobody 2's strength is in its cast. Bob Odenkirk strikes a believable balance. 2590_D025_00199R. But nothing works as much as the cast's interactions. Nobody 2's story would have been considered less than mediocre without Odenkirk's wry humor. The actor balances the angry brutality of fight sequences with the down-to-earth sincerity required in family scenes. It's very believable, and Odenkirk is truly adept at pulling it off. Odenkirk's chemistry with the rest of the cast is also great, especially with Nielsen, who gets more to do here and pulls it off. Christopher Lloyd is having a blast and RZA gets a fun fight scene and dialogue that make his few scenes memorable. Sharon Stone chews up scenery as the heartless and endlessly violent Lendina, though there were a couple of moments that proved distracting. Colin Hanks is appropriately nasty as a shady sheriff who thinks he's above John Ortiz's mayor, who wants to break from his father's path and carve a new one for his son. Ortiz's performance reflects his good heart, even if I'm not convinced by the film's choice to parallel his story with Odenkirk's character. With a game cast and engaging action set pieces, you won't help but be entertained by Nobody 2. It's a breezy film that doesn't overstay its welcome. It won't be memorable in the long run, but we get exactly what's expected for the most part. Its themes could have been better explored, especially since they're introduced in a way that suggests an importance beyond hand-wave dismissal, but it's easy to overlook that and enjoy the ride.